Okay, this has been discussed before. Okay. I'm not talking about reviewer here. Reviewer is the audience. Okay. So I just want to recap that you have to do some homework. You have to check who are your audience. Okay. In this case, because we have multiple different scenario, you might be presenting for your proposal, then the audience will be your assessor. Okay, your deputy are probably experts, yeah. And you might be pitching for some business opportunity. So you must know who are the audience. And you might be giving some I mean you are competing for some public talk or whatever, but I mean you are trying to win some project, or you are trying to win for example 3-minute thesis. I don't know whether you have heard about it. Okay, it's a competition. Still, these elements of NABC can be used. Okay, so most of the times presenting will be around 10 minutes. Well, unless you are a keynote speaker, then you will be given 30 minutes, 45 minutes. In this case, people want to listen to you, so that is different. So most of the time you are given 10 and 50 minutes, but this one we try to cap to 3 minutes or 8 minutes. Okay, so this is common. As I mentioned before, this is based on my experience. You are playing with human emotion. Okay, they are human being, and you need to tell them a good story. We not you. We need to tell them a good story, and we have to make sure whatever that we use. Okay, let's say you are using slides. The slide must be good. Okay, that one we will discuss probably in week 6. I'll be showing examples of good slides, bad slides. Okay, if you are competing in ideas, innovation, then not to copy someone else's ideas. Try not to recycle ideas, but these are relative. As I mentioned, these are relative. Sometimes it's okay to do that. Sometimes depends on the situation. But you need to have a clear goal. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to deliver to the audience? Okay. Then if you come with a team, for example, you are pitching for business, you must be able to provide information about sufficient experts in your team. It's not enough for just you to be there. You need a team. Okay. So this is just a guide for multiple scenario. I'm not talking about for research proposal per se, but I'm talking about if you're pitching for business, if you're trying to win some competition, then you can use this. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's go straight to the back to the presentation phase. So remember about the hook. Yeah, remember about the hook. We talked the first one. We talked about the hook is the first item that we talked, and we didn't actually go in detail about example of the hook. So later, after I have discussed a bit on the content of NEBC, we are going to listen to some presentations, real life presentations, real life competition, and then we try to look at what kind of hook, what kind of style people use to engage the audience. Yeah. So we have discussed the structure. You can see that the most time allocated is to approach, especially we are talking about science. So science is quite difficult to deliver because we want people to understand what is actually being used, what kind of science principle that you are proposing. So you can see that the the allocated time is 4 minutes, has the biggest portion, because this is the most difficult for you to explain. Now, I'm going to show you, we have discussed this. A hook is an attention grabber. You want to hook the attention of the audience, and you want them to look at you. Okay, unless, as I mentioned, you are the keynote speaker, you are the invited speaker, the people is waiting for you. So, but in most cases, we have to grab the attention. Okay, so this is just an example. Okay, so you can we can have a look at a series of video. I'm going to show you probably 3 or 4 videos, and we can observe what kind of hook they are using. Okay, remember that you are playing with people's emotions, so you have, that's why you have to study the who's going to be your audience, because different people, they perceive different way. Okay, right? Okay, so this is what I have used before, since it was not limited. I mean, the number of slides was not limited, so I was able to use slides. Yeah? Imagine that if in the situation that you're not allowed a slide, then this is not going to be a good example. So if I choose to show this to the audience, which is something more about a statistic. Yeah, you can see this is a statistic. 1/3 of the world's population is affected with TB, because my line of work now is more on tuberculosis. So this is probably surprising for some people. Probably not surprising for some people. Why is it 1/3 of world's population is infected with TB? We never know that. But TB can be active TB, okay? And TB can also be not active yet in your body. It is called latent TB. So this is why 1/3 of the world's population is infected with TB. Maybe it's already in our body, but it's latent, it's inactive. Okay, and it might become active if you are immunosuppressed, or one day you become old. Okay, these will trigger the active symptom. And another thing that I can show is picture. Okay, this picture, all right, one thing, the picture of this guy is also scary. Okay, yeah, the characteristic of TB patient, most of the time they become thin. They have weight loss, significant weight loss. And now what we're afraid of is what we call as totally drug resistant TB, means that it is not treated, it's not treatable. So if we have this, okay, case, then it's going to be most of the time fatal cases. Okay, so if you are to attract people attention, if you want to attract people attention first, probably you can use this kind of approach. If you, let's say, have the opportunity using slides, then you can show statistics, or you can show picture, and you can use powerful words to grab them, their attention to this picture. What's so bad about this? Yeah, we are talking about totally drug resistant tuberculosis. Okay, means that it's not treatable. Okay, even if you have normal TB, there are 3 categories. One is normal, one is multi-drug resistance, means that it is not responsive to a series of drugs. And the third one is totally not responsive to any drugs existing drugs. Maybe there are new drugs. I don't know. So imagine that, and the bacteria is in your body doing its job, destruction in your body, and it is not treatable. So imagine that. Okay. Now, let's go back to the NABC, because hook is sort of accessories. Okay. You are using that to just hook your audience first. Now is the main or the core business. Sorry. So you can use these tools, as I mentioned, you can use for your research proposal, you can use for your competition, any competition that you want to win, for example, the 3-minute thesis. And I'm going to show you science communication. Science communicator is a competition of science communicator where the participants has to present difficult scientific principles to make people understand about it in 3 minutes without using any slides. Okay. So the needs, okay, so I'm going to show you in my executive summary what kind of needs, all right, example of needs that is in the executive summary. So this is in written form. I'm going to show you a series of videos how it is presented in oral presentation form. Okay. So if you look at here in my executive summary, I presented the needs. Okay. The current LFIA is lateral flow, the test strip. Okay, the common test strip. It is not sensitive and specific enough. So the same technique can be applied with combination of it. Okay. So the keyword here, the needs or the problem. Okay, we have discussed about problem statement, that the system is not sensitive and specific enough. So the two keywords that I highlighted here, the needs to improve sensitivity and specificity. Okay, of course, if you have the the capacity to write more, then you can write more. Okay, so the next one, if you remember, okay, the needs. Okay, let's say you are selling some products. Okay, you are selling about business products. Okay, so you need to highlight the needs of your clients, the important, the specific client or market opportunity. You know the target market, you know the target client. So you have to highlight their needs. Be specific. Okay, all right. So the second one is, okay, because I is NABC, so we move on to approach first. Okay, so now the needs and how you are going to solve the needs, or you know the problem, so what is your solution towards that problem? Okay, so I'm going to show back the executive summary. So because my problem, not my problem, what I highlighted as a problem is sensitivity and specificity. So this is my approach to solve the sensitivity and specificity issue. So I'm going to improve the specificity by having multiple lines. Means I'm going to use more than one antibody sets, or I'm going to introduce a different biomarkers called aptamers. Okay. And in order for me to increase sensitivity, because sometimes because everybody now is very very familiar to test strips, you remember that when you use it, it might give you very what we call weak lines, faint lines. So you might be having difficulty to decide whether the lines is there or it's not, it's just smudges. Okay, so and my approach, if I want to have a more sensitive reading, is to uh, add some kind of color recognition apps by using mobile phone. So by using these two approaches, okay, I propose that I can increase sensitivity and specificity to improve the current test strip system. Okay, so this is the approach that I use to tackle the problem or the needs above. Now comes to the B part. Okay, of course, even though you have mentioned the problems and you have mentioned the solution by talking about the approach, we need to highlight what are the benefits. Okay, if it is a business product, okay, then of course you have to highlight about the client benefits of your uh, whatever innovation, if whatever product that you are selling, what are the benefits? Why your benefits why is it going to be unique, or what is it going to contribute to the customers? So in my executive summary, since this is very scientific, I'm going to put some this is going to be a low cost, okay, accessible from home, okay, with a TB mobile kit to every home, and especially to the rural areas with 24/7 testing. You can do self-diagnosis, and by doing self-diagnosis, you can avoid life-threatening situation. Okay, since you can diagnose your infections in your TB infection early, then you can avoid life-threatening situation. So these are benefits of my research approach. Okay. So I don't have at this moment business product. Okay. Means common business product. This is business. I'm selling this, and I have experience presenting this business, this innovation as a business, yeah, to many companies. So, but as I mentioned, there are different types of audience. So when first I presented to those business people, okay, so of course they don't have these questions, a lot of questions on science, but then we highlighted about the issues of many cases of TB, difficult to diagnose. You have to give your sputums to hospitals, and it takes a lot of time to confirm. So these are things that you can use to talk to, I would say, common people. And the second stage of presentation, I have to face what we call as expert. Yeah. So this time it is an engineer who works in, at that time, engineer who works in medical device industry, and he understood all these strip tests, the principle, the biomarkers being used. So I have to answer accordingly. I mean, I have to present accordingly to the audience. Okay. So this is the benefit. Okay. I'm sure that it is, you can understand it easily. Okay. And the last part will be competition, because in business, competition is going to be there. Okay. But for research proposal, this is not a must. Okay, but you can make comparison to previous research. Okay, you can make comparison to previous research. Okay, what is better? Why your approach is significantly better than the previous research. Okay, so if you are selling a product, why your product or innovation significantly better than the competitors existing in the market, for example. So again, I tried to show that in the slides to them. Okay, this is benefits as well. I forgot to show you this. Okay, apart from just now, I'm telling about the self-diagnosis and avoid life-threatening, user-friendly. I also have depends on the situation, depends on who is listening to me. So I might be talking to economic contribution, creation of new IP, creation of new business. So depends on the listeners, and then competitors. So in my case, since there's not many, okay, there's not many TB test strip in the market. Okay, so I can highlight those from endorsed by WHO. You can see that the WHO currently using urine, whereas I'm using sputum. Okay, there is I need to highlight actually why there is a problem using urine and why sputum probably better. Okay, so I have to highlight that. I do not highlight it here, but I know the facts. And you can see that by using the WHO approved test, it's 25 minutes, whereas ours can be used, can reduce the time to 15 minutes. Okay, so you have to highlight, yeah, the competition side. If it is a business product, then you know who are your competitor. And if it is a research proposal, then you know what has been done before and you are proposing a better or an improved approach. Okay. So we must be able to tell our client why our solution represent the best value. So this goes for business as well as research proposal. Okay. Okay, you see here the word iteration. Okay, so in presentation, iteration means that you have to keep improving. So you have to present, okay, present or practice before the actual presentation. So based on my experience, it is best to record your presentation and you look back at your presentation, you will find the weaknesses. You will find things that you need to improve based on the recorded videos. You can always find that. Sometimes you, move too much. Sometimes your hands go up too much. Okay, sometimes there's a lot of things. Or the other way, you can ask your friends to look at you while you are presenting and comments on your presentation skills. Okay, so these two can be used. You record yourself and you look back, or you might ask your friends to look at your presentations and then comment. Okay, and you need to iterate. Iterate means you need to improve, okay, the presentation based on what you observe lacking or what your friends observe, or you are actually in a series of presentations, because presentation requires practice. And if you are used to presentations, it is much less the the feeling of nervous is going to be much, much less if you practice, if you present more, challenge yourself to present, okay? Uh, um, like more presentations, okay? So from there you can improve your presentation skill. It's about practicing. It's about practicing. It's like cooking. If you like never cook, or you forgot to cook, or you have not been cooking for quite some time, it's going to be difficult. So presentations requires practice, and you need to do iterations. Yeah. All right. Okay, any question before we look at some examples? Okay.
No,
So,
bro.
yeah, any questions? No, yeah. So now I'm going to share a few examples, probably two presentations, okay? Right? And these presentations are from, just a moment, okay. It is called Fame Lab. Okay. So the first one, can you see the YouTube? It's on the screen. Can you
Yes.
see the, yeah, okay.
Yes, bro.
So Fame Lab is what we call as effective science communicator competition, more or less. It is called Fame Lab. And the task is for the participant or the competitor to talk about difficult scientific explanation or scientific principles. But you have to deliver, means that deliver the scientific explanation and people can understand. Okay, so the first example that I'm going to show you is one of my students. He managed to go to final, yeah, final stage, and you should observe the hook and the way he presents himself and what kind of words being used. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on. I hope that everybody can hear and listen to this. And before that, I would like to introduce this guy. This is Dr. Professor Abimayu. He was actually before with UPM, and now he is with Sunway. So he actually won the international Fame Lab, not Malaysia Fame Lab, international. Of course, he won the Malaysian level first, and then he won the international level Fame Lab in 2016. Okay, so this is the MC for this day. Okay, just listen to this, all right? And then I hope you can identify the hook and how the participant explain the scientific approach, scientific principle, because this is not a business pitching and this is not a research proposal. So neither it is not business pitching, it's not a research proposal, but it's more on effectively communicating a scientific principle of certain concepts. Yeah. So please listen to this first. Identify. Yeah.
To the final participant. And it's not just a pharmacist, it's a nuclear pharmacist. As opposed to a cytoplasmic pharmacist. Sorry, that joke. He's from the National Cancer Institute, Putrajaya, and currently pursuing his master's degree in analytical chemistry at University Putra, Malaysia. And I was just talking to him backstage, and he was telling me that he's also a trained lifeguard. But sorry, ladies, he's married. He's not ready to mingle, but he surely wants to tingle you with his science. So without further ado, let's have Sarif Naim Muhammad Ashar.
Okay, first I want you to observe the t-shirt that he's wearing.
picture is worth 1,000 words. If I take a camera and picture everyone in this hall, I'll be able to see beautiful faces, handsome, tall, short, and all the physical attributes. What if I take a special camera that is able to differentiate the bad guys from the good ones? In the branch of pharmacy, we produce radiopharmaceuticals for treating cancer. Radiopharmaceutical is a term combining radioactive and pharmaceutical. It is actually a drug, except that this drug is radioactive. So how does this radioactive radiopharmaceutical is used to treat cancer? Imagine that this is a pharmaceutical, which acts like a vehicle. It is chemically bound to radioactive material, which emits gamma radiation, forming a diagnostic radiopharmaceutical. It is then injected inside the body and travels towards the cancer cells. There, this gamma radiation penetrates through tissues and is detected using a gamma camera, forming an image. An image that is able to visualize, differentiate, and even locate tiny hidden cancer cells. Next, to destroy this cancer cell, a therapeutic radiopharmaceutical is produced by chemically binding the same pharmaceutical to radioactive material which emits beta particles. At a very short range, this beta particle will penetrate into the cancer cell, damaging it and also destroying it. This diagnostic and therapeutic radiopharmaceutical approach is termed as theranostic radiopharmaceutical. So what are the advantages of this theranostic radiopharmaceutical? With theranostic radiopharmaceutical, cancer treatment is personalized or tailored based on the patient's condition. Hence, it improves therapy outcome, predicts adverse effects, and also monitors therapy response. As a pharmacist, I'm committed in looking into different ways to treat cancer. My current research is in developing a radiopharmaceutical for bone cancer. And just like Thanos, hopefully one day, different type of cancer can be theranostically seeked and destroyed. Thank you.
Okay, right. They actually have around less than 2 minutes, I think, to explain the scientific principles of this. In this case, is targeted drug delivery, and they have to answer some questions. Okay, you can see these are the evaluators, the assessors, and they have questions. Okay, this is Arif, my former students. Okay, I actually groom him for his presentation. Yeah, indirectly from this research methodology class. Okay, so he didn't win for the final, but I think he he has given his best, and the one that win was a medical doctor who presented on drug what we call is drug misuse or something. So you can actually, I'm going to give you this the whole this YouTube link so you can watch. There are so many speakers. You can see this guy is the one that wins. Let's look at him first a bit. Let me scroll back. Yeah, just a moment. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Though his preferred venue is the shower. And with that
Okay.
image leaving, let's give a huge
All right.
welcome to our
Okay.
Dr. Hans Abdul Rashid, a medical.
Okay. Before that, I would like to introduce this MC is Dr. Siti Khairia. She won the International Fame Lab as well, the International Fame Lab in 2018. I'm going to show you her video after this, okay? So now is the one that win this competition.
Not only is he completing his final postgraduate study in Faculty of Medicine by CHM, he is also a father to two children. Talk about busy. But this super dad isn't all work and no play. You might be able to convince him to serenade you with a number or two, though his preferred venue is the shower. And with that lovely image lingering, let's give a huge welcome to our super singing shower singer psychiatrist, Dr. Hazrin. Woo!
2 years ago, I was on call. At around 10 p.m., I received a call from the emergency department. There, I met patient X. He was psychotic, restless, and agitated. He was convinced that someone wanted to kill him. It turned out he had been addicted to methamphetamine for the past 10 years. Methamphetamine is also known on the street as crystal meth, shabu, ice, or pil kuda, literally horse pills, perhaps as a reflection of its effect of making you feel like a superhero or an insatiable stunt. But the drug is also known to cause psychosis. We treated him for about 2 weeks in our ward before he was discharged. 2 months later, he came back with the exact same problem. Sadly, this is a recurrent story for many drug addicts out there because as many as 60% of recovering addicts relapse within 1 year. Individuals like patient X is just like any of us with jobs and families to support. Because of drugs, they are trapped in this vicious cycle of unemployment, poverty, crime, and broken families. It's easy to make a moral judgment against them. Are they stupid, careless, bad, immoral? Why don't they learn their lessons? Why are they repeating the same mistakes? Drugs like methamphetamine disrupt the dopamine activities in the reward center of the brain. Dopamine is what motivates us to repeat behaviors we find pleasurable. Dopamine is also important in the process of learning, which happens in the memory part of the brain called the hippocampus. Here, through the process of associative learning, the drug high moments will be linked to specific triggers. These triggers can be physical, such as hearing a song that reminds you of the time and place when you used drugs. Much like how the sight of 7-Eleven would trigger my 2 years old to cry for Kinder Joy, the infamous chocolate eggs with surprise toys that have been terrorizing parents everywhere. These triggers can be so powerful they induce cravings even if you have abstained for many years. The triggers can also be emotional, such as happy feelings, depression, anxiety, or something as benign as boredom. Much like how you would check your phone when you're bored, even if there's no reason for you to do so. By the way, I'm totally watching you guys just to see how well I'm doing. Finally, drugs will hijack the prefrontal cortex, and the brain loses its ability to recognize problems, find solutions, and inhibits destructive impulses. This is the reason why addicts like patient X continue to make terrible decisions, why they risk their lives to keep on using drugs. Maybe we are too focused in cutting supplies and filling our prisons with addicts. Maybe it's time for us to ask ourselves, are addicts criminals or victims of their own circumstances? How can we as a society collectively do better to fight this? Thank you.
Okay, so you can see that there are two different approach. Zarif just now, if you remember that he wore a T-shirt, which a picture of X-ray. I think it's not X-ray, it's MRI. Okay, because he used those kind of thing to check on the efficiency of the drug treatment. Okay, because he is in Institute Cancer Negara, okay, for cancer treatment. So you can see even he dressed by using the yeah, I think he probably have that shirts made for him. So he used that to attract people. And then he used some props. Remember, he used some props because it's difficult for him to talk about the word theranostic, which is an alien word for some people. Not all know about theranostic, about diagnostic. It's difficult, okay? So he has to like uh, helped by some props. But and then in the end he used the word Thanos. Okay, I think Thanos, for those who watch movies, knows about the Thanos. Okay, so those kind of things that you can put. And this guy, this doctor, has talked about the drug addicts, and he's a psychiatrist. And he talks about why the drug addicts relapse, come back to the drug addicts, repeating the drugs. Okay, so he's talking about the concept of dopamine. He's talking about the structure of brain that's actually making the drug addict came back to the old habits. Okay, but in a simple way, talking about the Kinder Joy example, okay, that triggers uh, the his children wants to buy Kinder Joy when pass through a 7-Eleven outlet. So this kind of things makes people understand, makes people appreciate what are you trying to talk, even though it's a hard science. We talk about brains, hippocampus, frontal lobes, which is we don't want to hear about that, but then he make it easy. So this is what we are, yeah, try our best to do that. Okay, so can you observe any other thing, please? The NABC? Yes, please. Anyone? Okay, let's look at another example. I hope that you can see this is international level. I hope that you can see the news YouTube screen. Everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So this is Dr. Khairia, international level.
Here to Cheltenham
Okay.
to sort us too. So prepare to be bosom buddies with our amazing Malaysian champion Kai Mohammed Hanafia.
Okay, she won this. She won the first place at international level, same as Dr. Abi just now.
Choose to fall into the arms of someone in this crowd. Wouldn't you rather fall into the familiar arms of a friend? Well, that's how antibodies choose the antigens they want to bind to be locked in a molecular embrace. In fact, antibodies can only bind antigens, which are pieces of bacteria or virus, that they've met before, that they recognize as familiar. It is this familiarity and exclusive match that forms the basis of many of our innovations in biomedical research. Particularly for my research, the specific recognition of antibody to antigen can be used as biomarkers and turned into simple diagnostic tests, like pregnancy tests, but to diagnose an infectious disease. Now, usually, antibodies recognize antigens better than you would recognize the face of a loved one in a room full of strangers. But a problem arises when sometimes antibodies mistakenly recognize a similar but different antigen, the way I might mistakenly recognize Brad Pitt as my husband when I'm not wearing my glasses. Now, this is a common problem in developing an antibody-based test, but especially to diagnose TB, a disease that afflicted 10.4 million people just in 2016. This is partly because The bacteria that causes TB, the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, has many mycobacterial cousins that our bodies constantly meet in the environment. This confuses an antibody-based test and gives rise to false positive results, which reduces its accuracy. That's why, even until today, we are stuck with methods to diagnose TB that are time consuming, expensive, and laborious. And most importantly, they will miss the majority of people living with TB in areas without lab facilities, depriving them of a cure. That's why my research is investigating different mycobacterial antigens and how our antibodies recognize them. Hopefully, one day we can discover an antibody antigen match that can be turned into a simple diagnostic test to diagnose TB in big hospitals as well in remote villages without running electricity. Such a discovery could be the difference between containment and spread or life and death. Such a discovery could be an antibody antigen match made in heaven.
Okay, everybody, if you cannot hear this, I'll give you the link. Okay, if you find it, probably I don't know. This is what I can do the most in terms of the sound. I'm gonna give you the link so that you can watch. This is your task for your 8 to 9 class. You have to watch this, yeah. And then we are gonna go back to our slides just now. Okay. So I hope I have shown you the examples, okay, of presentations. I'm not saying it is a powerful presentations because that depends on how you perceive, okay. So that depends on how you perceive. Some people just like a normal presentation. Some people like with words, with I mean those kind of words. But you can observe that the two parts when you are presenting, one is the hook, one is the ending. So she put in some humor, and the ending you can see talking about the match made in heavens or something. Is how powerful the words that you use. Okay, and then you can see the tone of her voice is very comforting. I mean, you don't have to shout. You don't have to like be very uh what to call I don't know. I'm lost of words. But you don't have to use a very uh loud voice or whatever. It's just a smooth soft voice, but you can attract the attention of the audience. Okay, so this is your task, okay, for this first assignment. So as I mentioned, this class will end after this, and then you are going to watch a series of presentations at your own time from 8 to 9. And then this is your first assignment for this subject. Okay, so I believe that some of you has enrolled in short dissertation and some of you are not. Okay, so for those of you who are not, okay, for those of you who are enrolled in short dissertation subject, I'm sure that you have the title ready and you have, of course, some ideas on the proposal. Okay, but for those of you who are not enrolled in a master dissertation, you have to create this. Okay, you have to create this. So we have discussed about the components of proposal. We have discussed on how to write it. So you have to do it properly. You have to prepare it in written form, including all the literature reviews and whatnot. Okay, so you're gonna have it's actually 10%. Okay, 5% plus 5% is 10% altogether. All those introductions, problem statement, literatures are down to the executive summary. Okay, I'm gonna show you all the slides. Yeah, this one, yeah. All this has to be there. Okay. All right. And then you need to present it. Okay, you need to present the proposal, and this will give you 15%. Okay, so you don't have to present it in class. You can present it in recorded presentation. You will be submitting that in Putra Blast. Okay, as I mentioned, the content, as I have shown before, it has to according to the format we have discussed. Okay, this is to ensure you to get marks. Yeah, I'm not talking about it's a must for other proposal, but for this subject evaluation, these are all a must. Okay, please don't skip this. Okay. All right. So make sure that you are particular about the language. Okay. Of course, I'll be checking some parts on similarity index. I will just probably a bit on, yeah, a bit, some part of it, not all of it. Clarity of the proposal, okay. And then for your oral presentation, slide organization, okay, only 5 slides are allowed, only 5 slides. You don't need to present up to 10 slides, okay. And the oral presentation is 10 minutes maximum. Okay, so I would prefer if you can do less. Okay, right. So this will be your first assignment. Okay, so when is the due date? We don't need to discuss it now, but you can start doing it, preparing it, because the due date will be after your semester break. Okay, questions?
Prof,
Yeah,
for a recorded presentation,
right.
do you want us to be in the video, or we just record the PowerPoint presentation
Okay,
with our voice?
right. You have to be in the video. Okay, so I don't want to make it actually I don't want to make it compulsory, but make sure that it is a good presentation. Okay, so actually I'm going to give you some ideas of how the presentation will be, but then I want everybody to be creative. So as long as you think that it is a good presentation, creative presentation, then it's all right. But it's best to put you in the presentation. Okay, question? Because I heard some other voices apart from Hidayah.
Prof, I have a question. About the content of the slide. Do we have to include the idea of a project?
Sorry? The
content of the it should be it should be the idea of a proposal, or it should be the content of a proposal.
Okay. So in any proposal presentation, the most important, okay, let me highlight. Okay, as I mentioned, these are compulsory for written, right? For written part. But when you are presenting your ideas, if you look at the videos just now, okay, you have to talk about the problem, definitely. Okay, so if you are doing a normal presentation, like a normal one, people will say, my name is, my title is. So if it is something supposed to be powerful, you don't tell that way. I hope that you follow me when I showed you the example of the video just now. So it should be in that manner, where you are trying to catch the attention of the audience, And if you do it in normal manner, like, but the title of my presentation today is blah, blah, blah. My name is blah, blah, blah with matrix number, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a very mundane presentation. Okay. So your question just now, whether you need to put all this in each of the slide, my my answer will be not necessarily. But if you think that you just want to do that, then yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to grade this based on two parts. One is the written proposal, which is 10%, and one is the powerful presentation, which is the 15%. So you must know that. Okay? All right? Means that you need to tell everybody about this, but it does not have to be presented in each slide. Okay? Since you have only 5 slides and the slide must be good, I'm going to discuss about some examples of good slide and bad slide next week. So I hope that you get the idea of how a good presentation or a attractive presentation or meaningful presentation from the example just now. Do I answer you, Asma? Yeah, do
Yes,
I?
Prof.
All right, okay. Any other questions? 5 slides is maximum, yeah? Less is better, and 10 minutes is maximum, less is better. But of course, 3 minutes probably minimum. 5 minutes minimum. Okay, questions? If there is no more questions, I'm going to give the link of the FAME lab just now and some other link. Not necessarily I'm telling that these are the best examples, but then you can use that as a guide. Okay, everybody, have a nice rest. So no more class from 8 to 9. Focus on watching the videos. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Prof.
Bye.
Bye.